we are back for another locker room report with hockey coach, local Frenchies directly for the beautiful country of Thailand. And beside me, we have Mr. Marco Larabi for Hawkesbury and somewhere, somehow, down in Toronto on the cavemen, waiting to sign on Mr. Inortap back in the house.
Hello, gentlemen. Hello, Hockey Nation.
Thursday night, October 12th, 2023, and Montreal will play the first game. And a lot of things to talk about tonight, ladies and gentlemen. No prediction will be more on the weekend, but hopefully you have a great game last night. We're going to talk about the game happening between Toronto and Montreal Canadiens. We follow all everything that's going on around the league tonight. 7 games on program, 1-1 between the New Jersey and Detroit. Some point Minnesota was winning 1-0. It was 2-1 against Flyers against Columbus. I don't know the last score, the last update about that. But anyway, we're going to talk about different things. And we are really happy to have both of you here tonight, guys, talking about the game. And then you're going to give us some, assessment. What do you think is going to happen with Montreal? Because Saturday, the mega star, Mr. Connor Bedard, is going to be in the house at the Bell Center. Again, the Montreal Canadiens. They lost yesterday by a score 3-1 against Boston Bruins. But Bedard scored his first goal and in his NHL career. So pretty good to see that. But before we start, if you don't mind, guys, we're going to welcome everybody very quickly because we have a lot of program, a lot of things to talk about. First of all, we're going to say hi to RDP, Mr. Buffalo fans. Looked like Buffalo was losing at some point. I don't, again, it was just 3-0, but I'm not sure was a
3-1.
3-1 now?
Yeah.
So, from Newfoundland, RDP is in the house. Our friend Frankie Leonidas, he said to us, good morning, Vietnam. Welcome back, Frankie. We have Mr. Sebastian Four is in the house tonight. Thanks to be with us. Luciano Graziano, the moderator of the show, he is with us tonight, directly from Toronto. Alvi Calabro, of course, he gave us all the update what's going on that chat. It looked like it's 2-1, 3-1, 1-1, and I have an order game starter. And then we have Private Investigator is in the house. Welcome, PI. And then we have Mr. Rick Robitaille, ladies and gentlemen. He is in the house tonight. And Mr. Roy for Bangkok from Thailand is in the house, followed by Mr. Abination is with us tonight. And we have our friend Gary Cornoyer, the Roadrunner, is with us tonight. Just finished his shift with the UPS truck. Hopefully you're doing whatever. Great. And what about Mr. Dan Colette Asham from Winnipeg, Manitoba, is in the house tonight. Your ex-neighbor from Ottawa, Mr. Claude Richard, is in the house tonight. And Luke from British Columbia is with us tonight. Luke, always he come all the time. Don't talk a lot, but he's always with us. We are very grateful to have him. And then Nicolas de Goubi-Bonneau, dans la belle région de Sherbrooke. Il est de retour avec nous ce soir, mon Nicolas. J'espère que tu as passé une très belle journée à l'école. And then we have the Bunny Owls. I know the Bunny Puck, but we got now the Bunny Owls tonight. Welcome in the house. Hopefully, we're going to give you some carrots at some point. And then we have William McClary, directly from, he's getting excited right now. The snow's coming very soon. And his snowmobile right now on the trailer, ready to have a really great ride, a great run in the next. And then right now, he's just complete, Mr. Naftap. Is the nuts at the Walmart parking lot. Just his tour over there. He's still on the rookie side. And the New Jersey Devils guys take the lead 2-1. Jack Hughes just scored a goal. And the Devils take the lead 2-1 against the Detroit Red Wings. KLS est de retour avec nous ce soir. KLS, thanks so much to be with us. Sorry about your team right now losing 2-1. About that one or that. We'll talk about the Oilers game last night. Our friend Jake McAnooey is in the house tonight. Welcome back, Jake. Thanks to be with our Canadian show. Our friend Joseph, welcome back. Are you guys still thinking the Ab are not making the playoff back to back? I said no. Marco?
No.
And after?
No.
You got the answer, Joseph. You got this right away right there. That's it. That's all. Rick Bengal with the beautiful Demetra from Halifax, Nova Scotia is in the house tonight. Thanks to be with us, Rick. Glad having you aboard. Don't forget, guys, to click on the like. That'd be awesome. And that's all. We'll go through everybody in the chat all the way back. It took about 8 minutes. We're still in the time. We need to be sure we are in the time of the frame. The subject we got tonight, guys, we're going to go through this right away here. The Ab Locker Room Report. We have the Ab Highlights, Ab News for the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, going to add some news around the NHL. If you follow me, guys, but I did the video today about the recap game and the highlights of the game between Toronto and the Montreal Canadiens. 6-5 overtime. Really excited game. We'll talk about this next couple of minutes. And we invite you guys, excuse me, don't forget Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. I just spoke with him. Tim Turk is going to be with us Monday night, 9 o'clock. Guys, we don't bring a lot of assistant coach in NHL. So, by the way, I cannot remember his first name. Catton. Is it Brandley Catton on the NHL Draft 2024? What's the first name of the Catton? Played Team Canada.
Can't remember his first name.
Anyhow, he's right now working with him. So he'll give us some insight about Kirby Dach. He worked with him for 2 weeks with Brandon Gallagher for many years and many other NHL players. And he's an NHL shooting scoring coach. He's really interesting. I love his work. I know him for a couple of years, so we're going to be interesting. See that 9 o'clock Monday night, guys. And Marco D'Amico is going to be back with us, guys. November 4. Talking about Marco D'Amico, guys. Let's see, go here. Is the new inside the Montreal Canadiens with Marco D'Amico. Is going to bring us all the contents about the Montreal Canadiens. So Marco is officially with the team at the Hockey Nation Live Show. Just a period of time to set up his schedule with us, but very glad and very happy to have Marco D'Amico with us. So that's what we got so far, guys. So far, you all right? All good?
Absolutely. Very exciting lineup.
I think I've been you talking because when you're not up start, I'm done. We cannot talk.
That's it.
So we're going to get there. We have Larry Lavallee, ladies and gentlemen, is in the house. Thanks to be with our Canadian Live Show. And what we do at the beginning of the show, every time we know what I'm talking about, is the headlines of what we think about this. So we're going to start, of course, we always start with Marco Lavallee for that one there. So let's see where I am with the headlines. And Marco, you should be right here. Remember how to play hockey. I know, Marco, you make more things. I have to simplify this about this. You talk about Juraj Slafkovsky. So here we go. Give us what you think about your headlines.
I just thought, well, so first of all, I think everybody would agree had a really, really good game yesterday. Probably his best game in the NHL, in my opinion. But what I really loved is in the interview that he gave after the game, throughout the whole preseason, sometimes you wince. I feel bad. You can see that the media is asking him all these questions about whether he's confident or not. And the response that he had was, "Hey guys, I remember how to play hockey, right? It's not like I forgot to play hockey. I'm just getting my game back." To me, I just love that response, like a little bit of defiance, like him wanting to show some of these media guys and probably what he's seeing on social media about some of the feedback and criticism that he's kind of received since last year. So I just love that response, right? Listen, I didn't forget how to play hockey. I love that. A little bit of cockiness, a little bit of, remember last week I was joking around about just little things like, growing a beard, looking a little bit meaner, just being a little bit cockier. You can kind of see these things kind of in parallel with his performance on the ice, right? So just really good news for, he's such an important piece for Montreal to get right, to make sure that they develop him properly. So just really encouraged by the progress that we've seen over the last maybe 3 preseason games and then the first game of the season here. So like we talked about, Marco brought this point and Sandy, we talked about it. It's not going to be just like, a perfect line that's always going up, up, up. There's going to be ups and downs. So, let's enjoy the good game that he had. But I just wanted to point it out that that's something I noticed in his interview and his press conference yesterday, that a little bit of cockiness, a little bit of defiance. I love that. So really happy to see that from Mr. Slaffer.
That's awesome to hear that. Mr. Inartap, you have headlines. We're going to pick it up here if I can find it about this one over there. And it's going to be this one, Shut the Door. So that was the one you mentioned to me. So what you want to talk about?
Well, I was going to make it a little bit more descriptive, but I know it's a family show, so I truncated it to just shut the door.
Shut the front.
You know what? And sort of Marco's alluded to this as well. And I've said it in the past. It's all about patience. We cannot rush this process to build the team properly. Yesterday, were there problems? Absolutely. Were there a lot of positives that we can take away and build on? Absolutely. And some of the positives that I'm thinking about are the fact that I thought, since the Leafs were pretty much, they scored, I think, 4 out of their 5 goals. We won't count the shootout goal, but 4 out of their 5 goals was either 5-on-4 or 6-on-5. And a couple of goals were a little bit questionable. I don't want to put a lot of blame on Allen, because I thought for the 2 goals that he let in that were a bit suspect, he more than made up with it with some other saves later on in the game and kept Montreal afloat. So it's not a goaltending problem. It's the fact that some coverages were missed and by the defensive core. We saw that, Harris, they put him on the right side. And again, it's not that he absolutely struggled with it, but it's not his natural side. And it was posing some problems. I really don't like the combination of Matheson and Savard. I don't think Savard should be on that first line. He's logging way too much time for my take. He should probably at best be on the second pairing there. I liked also the fact that the team seemed to rally when they had to, and I'm not talking about just the goals. But of course, when we saw that Reeves was on the ice and took a couple of opportunities of making his presence known, and then had what I consider a boarding penalty on Gouli in the corner. It was quickly met. Yeah, well, he hit him right on the numbers, Marco. I think if we look at what the definition of it is it pretty much matches up with it. But the important thing is it didn't matter if he won it or lost it. I think Coach alluded to this yesterday while it was happening. It was the fact that somebody stood up and jumped into the situation and just said, you know what, that's not going to happen, not tonight and not any other night. And we saw later on as well when, somebody took, I can't remember who on the Leafs it was, took a shot at Allen, and Anderson jumped all over him. It's sort of, it's Bertuzzi, that's right. Yeah, how could I forget the flowing hair there? It goes towards building that team concept. It goes towards, creating an atmosphere where they know they have each other's backs. And I really enjoyed a lot of aspects of that game. I thought that the rest was all about growing pains. You can tell the importance when, that goal got called back. It's what we would call the TSN turning point. And we had that comfortable 2-0 lead. That would have made it 3. And I think it pretty much would have been lights out at that point. But the Leafs came back and got an easy goal there. And then they ended off the period up 3-2, and we had to go back to the drawing point. So, a lot of things to take away with you. This is not a playoff team right now, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We have to be patient. It's a process, and we will get there, because I think we're starting to build up on some great prospects that are show a lot of promise. And by shut the door, I meant they had 2 leads. Let's not forget about that. And again, that's part of the process, but they had 2 leads and 2 goal leads at that. and they have to learn also how to play it properly and not allow those kind of games to get out of hand, and eventually they ended up losing this. But they got a point. We're all happy for now, and we'll move forward.
Awesome. It was a headline. I don't know. We're going to talk about the recap game in a top, but we'll see what happened there.
Okay, good night.
My highlights is fun to watch. So for me, it's about what I'm looking for all year long. A lot of goal. As a hockey fans, last night, this is what you're looking for: 11 goal, power play, some pushing left and right, and a physicality at some point. So we have to give credit for what they bring on the table. It's still game number one, opening night, but they can see so many mistakes for both teams. They are still in the preseason overall. Both goaltender was not great, but for me, as a hockey fans, this was fun to watch. It was keep up all the way to the end, and it's not about winning, losing. For me, it's more about excitement about watching the game. So for me, that's my headlines of the night. And let's move on for what we got. We have a few people knock the door. We have GSM come back here in the house. We have Randy Walkman is in the house. Welcome back, all of you. We have Yep. I forgot Yep at some point. Hello, Tim. Hello, Yep is in the house. So thanks to be with us. I was very impressed with the Montreal. Definitely an improvement from last year. Caulfield back in the lineup from Steve G. I agree with you about that one. I agree. Let's go back where we're supposed to be. And should be right here about that one. There you're going to fly over, guys, the NHL news below us. Power signed a contract, a 7-year at $58.45 million. Dallas Stars play without their number one center, Rube Hens, for the beginning of the season. All weeks to weeks now. Taylor Hall for Chicago, weeks to weeks, unfortunately for him. And NHL fine. Philippe Dano smash last night. Yep, he got that one there. He got the maximum of the slashing. And that's one of the biggest news we got on NHL. But that's what happened. But we want to move on. It's now we're going to do a recap game. Last night between the Montreal Canadiens and Toronto Maple Leafs. Final score 6-5. And OT, Mitch Marner scored and shootout. He was the only one on the 6 attempts. The goaltender was really not great during the game, but during the overtime and during the shootout, it was pretty much better at the end of the day. So, Marco, we'll talk about the recap game before and after join after that. And I will just pick it up. What you didn't say something.
Yeah, Coach, I'm definitely aligned with you, just a lot of fun to watch that game. Just, first of all, it's Montreal, Toronto. Can you guys believe that Toronto and Montreal don't play again till March? It's crazy. Seems like a long time, but it seems no matter if Montreal is really a good team and Toronto's not a good team, or Toronto's a good team, Montreal's not a good team. It's always close. It's always an overtime. It's always the best, right? So didn't disappoint from that perspective. For me, the takeaway. So I'll start off with the positive, and then I'll kind of end with kind of things that I was a little bit concerned about. So to me, the biggest takeaway from last night was for sure, I believe it was, I think it was, I can't remember who was mentioning it, but that lots of fun to watch. Newhook was really impressive to me, not just in terms of kind of the offense that he created, but really, really strong backbreaker after Cole Caulfield's goal got disallowed. Here we're seeing the Battle of the Titans. Jack Eye gets the better. I think for sure, most people think he got the better of Reeves here for sure, as he slams him into the net. This was awesome to watch, especially after. And then here was that nice finish by Marner in the shootout. So overall, guys, lots of exciting things, lots of really, really great things to kind of take away from that game. The fourth line was a lack of foot their own, but I think I'd still like to see that flipped. The other major concerns, two major things I want to talk about is, the Suzuki and Caulfield in their own zone is a big issue, Coach. Last year, we were mesmerized, and we talked about this all summer, right? And we even, I think in a way, had selective memory about the beginning of the season last year, how Montreal came out to this great start and, They were very offensive, but let's not forget, right? Like Suzuki had that really high shooting percentage. The goalies were kind of maybe punching a little bit over their weight. So I just want us to, you can have a balance, right? Like we can be excited about the nice offensive things that happen in a game, but we just need to also be conscious. Like if you look at how Suzuki and Caulfield played together in their zone last night, it's a real issue. It's a real issue. Really, really, getting stuck in there, losing puck battles, what should have been easy clears at certain parts of the game, like that directly kind of resulted in goals for Toronto. So last thing I wanted to mention, something that we should keep an eye on, guys, since last year and even through the preseason here, Coach, this might be interesting for us to kind of do a bit of research, but the second period for the Montreal Canadiens with the long change seems like it's a real issue, right? Like they really have an issue. They usually get outplayed in the second period because of the long change. They got trapped in their zone. There was probably, I think there was a 15-minute interlude there where Montreal had no shots on net, which was most of it during the second period. So something to look out for, like, one of my theories about the reason why Montreal has had so many injuries over the last 2 years, it's not just because of their terrible medical staff. It's because of the fact that they end up in their zone way too long, chasing the puck. And that's when you take penalties. And that was another big story from last night in discipline. Although some of the penalties were in the offensive zone, it's still a result of them being tired or overextending their shifts because they're kind of chasing around. So is it something systemic with the way that St. Louis has the team playing, where they're just not able to get out of their zone quick enough, or especially in the second period when there's the long change? So just something that I think I want to keep an eye on moving forward. But overall, the main story for me was it was just a fun game, but let's keep things in perspective and remember that the objective this year is for the young core players to learn how to play hockey the right way, right? So sometimes I know that's not a sexy thing to say. Everybody wants to talk about the sexy things that happened last night. But as a hockey nerd fan that really wants Montreal to be successful, and if we want to build something successful down the line, it's all about getting them to learn to play the right way. And I just didn't see that from Suzuki and Caulfield in their own zone last night.
Great. And after
Marco, I don't disagree with that observation about the second period. I think you brought up some good points there. I mean, we'll have to dismiss yesterday because I think yesterday was a combination really of the fact that I think they had 4 or 5 penalties in that second period. So when you're playing shorthanded for that extensive amount of time, and it was at the tail end of that third disallowed goal by Caulfield that also sort of put him in a bit of a negative mindset. And they, as you said, they didn't get a single shot after that disallowed goal the rest of the second period. So I'm willing to dismiss yesterday from the pattern, but it is a pattern that was happening last year, and we'll look closely at it this year. In terms of the forwards, I would agree that second line of Newhook, Dach, and Slav was probably the most energetic out there. I thought they made things happen. I like that Slafkovsky was taking it to the net sometimes. That he was exemplifying good body position and was playing the rebound very well. The third line, it can't exist as it is. I'm sorry. Gallagher and Pearson, it's not just about the speed. It's a waste of Monahan's talent on that third line. I think he'd almost be better served being put on the first line where Anderson was, because I didn't feel Anderson was particularly, I mean, he wasn't horrible, but he wasn't particularly effective. He didn't make Suzuki and Caulfield that much better by being on that line, whereas I think Monahan would. In terms of the defense, I thought, we're seeing the pains of having a young defensive core, and in particular, an aging defenseman in Savard. That has to improve. I think that it will as time goes on. It didn't help that some of the defenders had to log more ice time because of that Jack-eye misconduct. And so he only played, I think, 10, 11 minutes, if memory serves me. And you need him on a little bit longer so that he can relieve other defenders. And my biggest concern, as I said the other night, for me is the fact that we're going to experience some regression in the nets from both goalies.
Hopefully they don't
I don't know.
regress. They were
Yeah.
they're for the most part just barely 900 save percentage goalies, right? So
yeah, I mean, he did face a lot of rubber last night, Alan. But as you said, sometimes all it takes is one or two bad goals, and it really sort of deflates the team from the momentum that they were building. And I think that's what we saw at certain points last night.
I think with Allen, like I didn't mention it, but to me, it's a wash. Like coach kind of, I forget. I think it was you and Tap that mentioned it, right? Like so, for sure, two of the goals were like so, especially the first goal and then the Matthews goal where he kind of banked it in and everything. You're right. Like but to me, an NHL goalie, it's I guess the best metric that captures it is saves above expected, right? So, you have to look at it that perspective, right? So you expect that your goaltender is going to save savable pucks. That's just the minimum baseline expectation. And then in order for the team to be successful, he's got to make a certain percentage of saves of goals that are expected, right? So I think he gave us probably that save percentage of goals expected at the rate that you would need to win, but then you're not able to flop two goals like that and think that you're going to win, especially against Toronto, right? But to me, watching that third period, especially that 6-on-5, it's again, there are so many opportunities for them to clear the zone, and they just kind of like were bobbling, right? Like I know I've brought this up a couple times, guys, and Marco didn't think it was really, he mentioned that wasn't really a focus right now, but there's a lot of teams that are moving away from man-on-man coverage, and I know St. Louis is kind of sticking with it right now. I'm not sure it's going to be the best thing for a team that has such a young D-core. It can easily be confusing, I think, when you get beat one-on-one like that. Zone coverages can be more complex, but the whole purpose of a zone defense is that if one piece fails, at least there's a structural kind of defense that's going to still generally protect that area, right? But Intertap, like I agree for most of everything you said, but I didn't really see an issue with the D-core last night. Like it's similar to last year. Like I think overall the D-core played pretty well, but it's I think there's always an easy kind of line between, okay, so the team is playing poor defensively. That means that their defensemen are not playing well. To me, that's way too simple of an explanation, right? It's the overall team game that's going to make sure that you're a good defensive team. The reason that maybe some defensemen are going to struggle is because they're not getting the support down low in the zone by the center at the right time. The winger is not actually chipping the puck out when they do the hard around, like things like that, right? Like, so to me, I really like, for the most part, I think the D-core of Montreal had a really good game last night. Kovacevic, man, like this guy, we picked this guy up on waivers. It's pretty incredible.
I mean, he was quiet, and that's not a bad thing. I think when you don't hear his name, that means he's doing what he's doing. Like I'm looking mostly at guys like I was expecting a little bit more out of Matheson and Gooley yesterday. Did not quite see it. Doesn't mean that they were bad, but they just didn't exemplify some of the, not talent's not the right word, but they just didn't have the same zoom as they did in most of the games that they played last year. And I thought it was disadvantageous for Harris to be playing on the wrong side there. And like I said, with Jack-eye being out, it meant you had to give extra ice time to other defenders. I think they'll come along. It's the hardest position to develop and develop properly. And they're all pretty much young, and it's going to take time.
Yeah, it would take time. That's all about at the end of the day. Uh, you know, should not give back the game. They gave the twice a lead by two, and then they gave 2-0, 5-3. And they come back Toronto to score 5-5. 4 of the 5 goals for Toronto are an extra man, 6 versus 4, 6 versus 5, or 5 versus 4. Only one goal, 5 versus 5, and 4 for Montreal, 5 versus 5. So you have to take a little bit more about that. Completely, I don't have any defenseman play a good game last night for me. Oh, no one. Madison, not great. Cooley, ouch. It's not a Cooley we know. Harris struggle on the left side. Chekai, at the end of the day, not a
He
flashy
wasn't there.
game last night. You can give me 1 or 2 spots, but how many times he get beat? This is a problem he has. This is a
I
problem in the next
disagree.
3 years. Chekai is going to be a defenseman number 6, 7, and 8 with Montreal Canadiens. That's going to be.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Coach. I
Angstrom is going to be
thought
better. Angstrom is going to be better. Auston is going to be better. Cooley is going to be better. That's 3. What do you put Jacky?
Ryan Bacher.
We don't know. Well, that left defenseman, right? But I don't listen. Like we'll have to see kind of how Engstrom works out, Coach. Like, well, it's a possibility. We haven't seen him play anything at the program, so it's hard to kind of predict what's going to be the case there. But I go back to my point, though, guys, is that if you're looking at to me, I like their game. Again, it's the first game of the season, and ultimately, for me, the reason that usually defensemen look a bit shakier is when they don't have options. And to me, that's more on the forward group, like whether the gap is too high between the forwards and the defensemen. It's easy, like I said, it's always easy to say, okay, there's a lot of problems defensively. What's wrong with our defensemen? No, it's not. I don't think that's the case here. It's overall how they play together in their defensive zone as a unit is what I saw more as a problem, right? Like even just on the tying goal, Monahan had like a very easy clear to clear the pressure from the zone, and instead he just weakly shot it to the point, and it was stopped by Klingberg, and then boom, within like 2 seconds later, it was in the back of the net, right? So I think it was Gooley like fought behind the net to kind of like win that puck. Really nice little sauce pass to Monahan in the slot for him to clear it, and he whiffed it, right? So it's easy to like, yeah, okay, so did they have sexy rushes? But Toronto adds a lot. They pressure the puck a lot, right? Like, so to me, it's defensemen always are going to look worse when they don't have options, when the forward group is not presenting options for them to break out. That's what I saw, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Like I said, this is game number 1. Those games are going to happen a lot for Montreal Canadiens for the upcoming season. We want to be sure they score goal. Now, everybody said they need a forward elite. Well, they scored 5 goals last night, scored 6 goals before that, and scored 5 goals before that. So that's pretty good overall for that side. But you cannot win any game if you have a bad goaltender situation with the Montreal Canadiens right now. This is going to be a very big problem. And the special team, last night, again, they struggled on that side. So there's negative side over there. But, your second line was a great game for the second line last night. Newhook, Slafkovsky, and Dach. The 4 line, usually you have a 2 goal for your 4 line. You score 5 goals.
You should win.
Should win that game. Yeah, no, you know what I mean? Like whatever it is, it's and then after that, the first line, I think they did pretty good. They would try again Anderson, but again, he's going to make his adjustment, Marco and our top Saint Louis. One, it depends who they play against, and then if they are home or on the road. And Monahan on the road is great on the third line. He stabilized their line. At home, I would put more Monahan on the first line with Ziski and Caulfield, and you can have a better chance with Newhook right now because Dvorak is not there. And we thought that. And that's what happened for this game again yesterday. I don't want to go more deeper. You guys, you already said almost everything about that game between the Montreal Canadiens and Toronto Maple Leafs. The fly, everything is on the chat. Talking about, they have a couple of people comments about this. Mac Neat at Jakai because his big enforcement are coming back and back. Gary Bettman, one more fighter. He tells us, hey guys, I was thinking about this morning. And the next 3 years, Dedario will be out. Ray's gonna be out, right? Uh, After Lucci will be out. If you think about around, they don't have a lot of big guy after that. So I would say
No.
that was kind of player not going to be in the league anymore. The role of Jacka is going to change at the end of the day. Of course, you have some, left and right, but that will be something I believe the next couple of years is going to change in NHL.
Where are you going to see the value of a Jack-Eye coach is, first of all, he has to work more on his defensive positioning.
Oh, we have a new subscriber, Brand Boudreau. Welcome
Brian.
in the house.
Welcome.
We are getting there. Here we go. What
I thought Jack-Eye was
saying,
really last night.
he has. No, he wasn't bad at all. I thought he was good. He just wasn't on the ice long enough because of the penalty situation. But he's the kind of guy that you will really feel an advantage to having once you get into the playoffs. And we saw that when they made that Stanley Cup run a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, when you bring in the big, sturdy defensemen that are going to lay their weight on the best forwards of the opposing team, that's when you see the value of a Jack-Eye.
For sure.
Yes, right. That would be right. Are you going to be surprised if he held his crash this year?
It's not impossible.
Maybe the odd game. Yeah. Some game. I
won't be surprised, but that's fine. I won't be other than Gouli, I suspect that all the young decor will probably, but I'd say that he's going to be, a mainstay. Unless there's injury, I suspect he'll play 65 to 70 games, I would say.
Yeah. I think that would be something to be sure. A lot of people talking in the chat. Keep up your conversation in the chat. If you have any question, you don't forget to click on the likes. Jika is the least less of the app problem on defense. Frankie, Jika is the first one. I'm sorry, the NHL is still like that. 10 years. Yeah. We have Maurice Robillard. Welcome in the house. Coach, we will always need a protector. Hockey is a physical game at temper. It's like we can be a better player. I don't said to let it go. I don't said he's not a bad player. I don't said that. My point is, at some point, it would be a defenseman number 6-7 with the Montreal Canadiens and the future.
I think it's a guess, right? You can project what these players are going to be, but you never really know what they're going to give you until they get there, right? So, we'll see. I think other than Hudson, I think, there's some reasonably good certainty that he'll play NHL games, but we'll see. It's Marco, our new colleague Marco had an interesting theory today on X. I still call it Twitter, but on X. He's bringing up the fact that today Boqvist was scratched for Columbus in their home opener, and whether there's a fit there, right? Some people are saying, reading some of the comments, that after drafting Reinbacher, we've got Mailloux, we've got Barron. Why would we go out and get a youngish right-handed defenseman? When we just drafted and we have too much strength, right? But the thing is you don't know until they get to the NHL if they're going to play in the NHL, right? Or how they're going to be able to adapt to the NHL. So I don't hate the idea of getting a Boqvist. It's a very similar kind of concept to what they've already done with Dach and with Newhook, in terms of not fast tracking the rebuild, in a way where you're going to sign a UFA or something that's 30 years old so that you can win right away. But fast tracking it a little bit, because Boqvist is in that same, window of age as Suzuki, Caulfield, and Dach in our young core, right? So similarly, to me, I'd be open to doing something like that. But when I look at Jack-Eye, I look at it almost the same way as I do Mailloux, right? I said this last week, like when we watched Mayu at the beginning of the training camp, we're like, okay, he's at least 2-3 years away because he, was running all over the ice, being an F1, like on the PK and stuff like that, right? But remember, guys, the first thing I said was he has all the physical tools. It's just a matter of how quickly can he learn how to play hockey the right way, right? It's not that he's not physically, it's not that he can't skate at an NHL level, can't shoot, all that stuff. Same thing with Jacki, right? So it's really up to him as to whether he can play with a quiet, disciplined mind on the ice, not go running around. What I loved about the thing with Reeves, he didn't go out looking for that fight with Reeves. It came to him, and he reacted.
It was a reaction.
Yeah. So I love Jacki's game yesterday. Again, it would have been nice to have him a little longer in the game, right? And it's kind of a weird sample size. But I liked it. I felt he was very controlled is the word that I would use, right? So I like Jacki's game. And if he continues to play like that, like coach, I get it. We have a lot of depth on left-handed defenseman, but that old expression, right? Like a bird in the hand is worth more than one in the bush or whatever that expression is.
Yeah, my point about Jacki is like I was just said 6, 7, 8. That's my point behind that with Guy Carbonneau. Ask Guy Carbonneau what you think about Jacki. Just ask Guy Carbonneau what you think about Jacki. You're going to get the real answer about Jacki. But you fans, many fans, only looking for him fight, pushing, physical, everything like that. But if we talk about his skating, back checking, his crossover behind, his play around the net, he get beat on front play. He played bad decision. His first pass is not tape to tape. Justin Barrett have a better pass tape to tape to Jacki. You look at about the details of the game. That's my point behind that. You guys, you need a guy just fighting and to beat in front of them.
No.
It's like
as a matter of fact,
top two fairing over there.
That's the point Mark was just making. He was saying that he's showing a lot of restraint this year, and he's showing a maturity that maybe when he first came in didn't have. Right? He had to establish himself, and that happened. But we saw it the other night with an exhibition game against Ottawa. McEwen was trying to entice him to fight, and he said, "No, I have to play here. I'm not going to waste my time with you," knowing that at some point they'd probably dance at some point. But even yesterday, like Marco said, he didn't go looking for Reeves. He just saw Reeves doing something that he was not supposed to be doing, and he stood up for his team.
So why not wait? Why now he paid 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 17 minutes without him? That's the reason they come back in the game after that, because the player was tired of the defenseman over there. It was not the right time to go that direction, drop the glove right away. That's the rookie mistake right there.
I disagree. You let him get away with that. That was the second hit. That was the second hit Reeves took. The first hit was along the side, and nobody did anything. And the second one, it was a boarding call. That was a penalty that was
no call on that one. Cooley turned his number is back at the end of the second. And Reeves, he did not push in.
He had the puck, coach.
Reeves, his
numbers were there.
Do you think he applied his 240 pounds, Reeves? If you follow the replay, you can see Reeves go slow over there. He finished his check. But everything like that. But Cooley have the puck on the side. At the last minute, decide to turn around. It's a game of 0.5 seconds quickly about that. He didn't have no call on that one. So what Albert Jacki should do about that, not drop the glove, push go in his face or Reeves, tell him you're not going to do this anymore here. Now he put his team on the PK, and then after that you lose 17 minutes. Do you prefer that Jacki on the ice for 15 minutes, or you prefer him in the locker room to watching the game?
Well, I can't judge what the referees did or did not do, because I could say something you might disagree with it, whether it was the right call or not the right call. Because first, I believe it was a boarding call, and that should have been called. And second of all, like this whole instigator rule, like that's up for debate for another time. But it's really something that has to be further investigated.
He dropped the glove. He go right away there. He dropped right away there. He started fighting.
And good for him.
Right away.
Good for him. Good for him. You have to stand up for your team, coach. You don't pull a Petrie, what Petrie did to Montreal last year when he got, or 2 years ago when he got attacked, and he turned around and just skated away. I'll get you the next period. Petrie wouldn't do that.
No,
Jacky would
it's
have
not
gone
about
after
Petrie
right
right now.
away.
We're talking about Jacky, a mistake about rookie versus
I know,
Anderson.
but
What Anderson did with Bertuzzi, he did not drop the glove. He pushed on him. He jumped on him. He did not get a
He was
2-minute
He jumped
skater.
on him.
He did not get you a
He
10-minute
jumped all
get out.
over him. He
What?
jumped right on top of him. He jumped on
Giordano,
top of him
yeah.
and put him on the ice.
But that's the point here. That's exactly. You don't put your team on the bad situation for 70 minutes as a defenseman to prove a
Coach,
statement for what? Reeve,
Look-
he's thinking about this. What you do, you talk there, talk to the players, and then engage with a fight. You can get a 5-minute versus a Grease, and it's 5 minutes. That's it. That's all. Now you put your team 12 minutes more because of that situation. That's my point
So-
behind that.
So guys, like,
I disagree.
yeah, I disagree too, Coach. Like ultimately, yes, you know. I
So now
think
you
the way that-
guys, you drop the glove, you have a fight in the, you have a guy get hit in the corner. Let's go, drop the glove, good at 2 minutes,
Whoa,
5 minutes,
whoa.
10 minutes, 70 minutes all the time. That's
Whoa,
what
let
you're
me-
talking that way right now. You tell me right now,
no.
every time someone get pinched, whatever happening to him, let's go. Drive the glove and let's go. That's what you're
That
talking
wasn't
right
a
now.
pinch.
You want a
That
team.
wasn't a pinch. That was not a
Let me-
pinch.
let me
Again,
finish
that
my
was a bold call.
Let me
This is
finish my
a-
point, there, Coach. Please.
Yeah, go
please
ahead,
let me
Mark.
finish. Okay, so my call on that is, listen, you can debate whether it was the right time to do it. I think, again, I don't think he went chased it. He reacted right away. I don't think St. Louis or any of his team members had any issue with what Jacky did. As a matter of fact, I think that they appreciated it. I think as a hockey player, you would much rather block a shot and kill a penalty for a penalty like that versus a penalty where Newhook did like an offensive zone hooking penalty. You're gonna fight for your teammates, kill that penalty, block a shot, do everything you can to make sure that they don't score on the power play when Jacky, sticks up for his team in that moment versus that. So when you said earlier
About
that
culture.
that was the turning point of the game, Jacky taking that penalty, that was not the turning point of the game. Absolutely. I totally disagree there. Now, again, you can debate whether it was the right tactical move for him to do it. But listen, like you said, it's a 0.5-second decision, right? To me, there was a lot of buildup over the summer, Jacky versus Reeves. Like, listen, that I was watching André Roy on Angers today, and he was talking about the mindset of these guys that go into a game like that when there's all this hype, like these two fighters, right? So they both probably didn't have good naps, game time naps. Like they were thinking about it all day, right? So I get it. I have no problem with it. Saint Louis even said like that he thought that it
Saint
was
Louis
kind of-
said what he said, Saint Louis. I don't know. I never played that way. That's what Martin Saint Louis said. He did not
no
defend
issue with
Jacky. He did not say it was a bad thing. He just said, I don't know. I never did that way. So
No,
I cannot
said, "I
answer that
understand,"
question.
But he did it. But he did say, "I understand, and I totally understand why he did it." Right. So, but he said, like, you're right. He did say that. Like, I've never been in that position, so I'm not going to go to a player like that and say, "Hey, this is when you should do it. This is when you should do it." But
Yeah.
he understood why he did it. Right. So, and again, I guarantee if you go to any of his teammates, to Jacky, and say, "Hey, like, were you upset? Do you think that Jacky put the team in a bad position?" They're like, "Fuck no!" Like
No way.
we're
way.
glad that he did that. And again, like, where you're pissed off that you have to kill a penalty is if you're, again, like for hooking penalty or something stupid like a lazy penalty or like a clearing over the puck or like something like that, right? Like something that's dumb, that's avoidable. Then yeah, like your teammates are going to be a little pissed off at you for maybe putting the team in an awkward position if you're doing something selfish. But you're doing something selfless for the team. I have
Yes.
no issue with it at all.
Yeah, agreed.
Good debate.
It's
We should
all
take our
about
heart-
building culture. It's about building culture, and you want to build that team camaraderie, and that doesn't come easily. And it's not like Marco said, it wasn't just a hooking where you decided, okay, let me go at you. It's as soon as somebody takes a liberty like that for you, against one of your teammates, you need to be there and stand up for your teammates all the time.
Well, it's sending a message too, right? It's the first game of the season. You know that Reeves, that's what he's known for, is to make hits. So it's just giving them a second thought before you go in and rub a guy out. Just know that, just a little second thought in your head, right? So it's the first game of the season. It's sending a message. It's like in a playoff series, right? Like you're sending a message early on in the series, or that to me, I have no issue with that at all.
Yeah, and it wasn't a normal body check, because otherwise I would agree with some of the comments that are coming up in the chat. I would agree 100% with that. It was not a normal body check. That was a liberty that he took on Gouli, and just look at the way his face went into the boards, and that'll give it away. He hit him
See,
smack on the numbers.
so again, and I see that's the thing is I agree with most of everything you said, but I agree with Coach on that. Gouli did flip at the last minute, so is it technically a penalty? Like the player is responsible for doing that, but it's really hard to stop up when a player just switches and turns their back to the puck at the very last minute, right? So in effect, is it technically a boarding penalty? It's really borderline in that sense. Like the end result is for sure, but again, the referee's looking at it and probably saw that he turned himself real quick. And again, I'm not saying that's not why Jack shouldn't have done it. It's that if you look at Reeves, like you said earlier in a tap, like he was running at guys. Like I forget who he hit before Gouli. I think it was maybe Monahan that he hit before that, but
No,
he
no,
did
somebody else.
yeah, it was 2 or 3 big hits that he had done either in that shift or in the last 2 shifts, right? So I have no issues with Jack taking exception and sticking up for his teammates there. That's our most heated conversation of the year so far. Do it.
At the end of the day, my point is you cannot drop your glove to get an instigator. That's my point behind that. Now he can fight with Reeves anytime, but you cannot punish your to punish your team because you just take advantage of Reeves about that one over there. For me,
it's so rare to call though. It's so
What?
rare.
I also just think you have to look at the long picture, and you ask yourself, is Montreal making the playoffs this year? No. So they have to develop that culture, that like I said, that team camaraderie right now. And then you have to be, as you become better, then you're becoming more and more disciplined as it goes along. But
it's like an investment. Like you're making an investment. Yeah. Okay, like we're taking this penalty right now as a team. We're glad to kill that penalty off as a team because we're investing in communicating to the league that don't F with us. Like I have no problem with that at all. But Coach, you're right. Like I don't like the culture in the NHL where immediately after you give a good hit that you have to immediately fight someone. And to me, honestly, Coach, like that's barely an instigator. Like Reeves had his gloves off pretty damn fast. It's not like he was like, yeah, like, and it's so rare that they actually call the instigator. So if that's how they're going to call instigators moving on, then it's going to be, wow, why is my face so much closer than yours all of a sudden? That's weird. Anyways, if that's how they're going to be calling them, then a lot of players are going to need to adjust how they engage in fighting in the NHL because I didn't see it as like a blatant instigator. Like I've seen way worse instigators than that haven't been called before, personally. It was like, Reeves had his gloves off within like 0.2 seconds after Jack had his gloves off. But that's what was called. And again, but I would be shocked. It would be very interesting to see what the overall reaction of his teammates were on that, because I would be shocked if any of the teammates were upset.
Well, they're not going to complain about that. That's normal. That's part of the team concept, the team building. We don't anything like that. What he did, I just said, fight is not a problem. When I disagree with this, as a rookie, you have to be a smarter decision about that. To not give a 2-minute and a 10-minute out. As a coach, you struggle after that. You have only 2 right D and you line up, and you have a Savard already have some kind of problem with time and with 2 eye. He put the team on the bad situation for 17 minutes. That's the problem with that part over there. If you only fight 5 minutes, 5-5, no problem with that part over there. But
it's not ideal, for sure.
17 minutes, that's too much about that one over there for me. So I would just not accept that, honestly. But again, he stepped up, he make a statement, and we'll see for the rest of the game. After that, he came back for the rest of the game, and he played a good game. But the defensemen of Australia, they didn't do very well yesterday against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Jake Allen did not do that. The next thing we'll talk about is Slafkovsky progression. I would like to hear from you what you think about Slafkovsky. He played for me one of his best games yesterday against Montreal, against the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was involved, he was physical, he was very everything. So I would like to hear from you about Slafkovsky. So, and Artap, you can talk about, you can start with him.
To me, I saw much more maturity out of him. He wasn't like last year. A lot of times you would see him like a deer in headlights. I think the game came at him much quicker than he probably imagined, and it's taken him a while to sort of adapt. Now I know this is just one game, but I mean he also showed some promise in a couple of the exhibition games as well. I just like the fact that he's starting to anticipate where he needs to be at the right time. He's taking the puck to the net. There were a couple of instances when he used his body as well, and that's what you have to do when you're that big. I mean, you don't go crazy, but when the opportunity presents itself, you use your body to finish off a check or to get somebody off the puck, whatever the case might be. And I really enjoyed that part of it. And as Marco was saying earlier in the press conference afterwards, I think he held his own with the way he answered some of those questions. There was that maturity that I saw.
Yeah, like it was so like the remember I was talking about before, right? Like I don't know if I was somebody around his around him, like in his inner circle or whatever, I say, listen, we know that you're happy and you're excited, but you got to stop smiling so much on the ice, right? Like he needs to just develop a bit. Like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me, right?
A
But
mean streak, a bit of a mean
yeah,
streak.
but also like it's nice to show that emotion and like after you score, but like he was so excited. Like I love to see it. Like it's really heartwarming to see how happy he is after all that, but just needs to be a bit meaner. To me, the thing that I really noticed for the first time is because and we've had these debates before, guys, since he was drafted. Like I've been from the beginning, I've been saying, don't expect like Slafkovsky is not a natural goal scorer. He's not. If to me, like he scored a lot of goals in the Olympics and at the World Championships and everything, and he led the tournament in goal scoring, and maybe that's probably why he ended up getting drafted. That really kind of catapulted him in the eyes of a lot of recruiters during that draft year. But if you really look at his overall time, leading up to the draft, to me, the thing that impressed me the most about him was his ability to do down low plays where he's a playmaker more so than like a finisher. So to me, that goal last night, where he kind of like, first of all, he beat a guy up the ice after he won the puck. So again, remember I was saying about playing the both sides of the puck for Caulfield and Suzuki, right? How important that is. Well, that whole goal started with Slafkovsky winning a defensive battle, winning the puck back in the defensive zone. Then he beat his coverage guy to the offensive zone, had really good hockey awareness to be aware to go where to go for space so that Dach could get him the puck. And then he made a really, really nice pass over to Newhook and just giving him an empty net. If you go back and look at some of the really amazing plays that Slav was doing leading up to the draft, it was really creative passes from behind the net, from around the net, and using his body to shield defenders and things like that. So remember, I think a couple people had mentioned before, like it's weird for a number one draft pick not to have like what is the one thing that Slafkovsky is good at? No, people couldn't figure it out. He's not a blazing fast skater. He's big, but he's not really shooting. Like, what is his main skill? And I know that we talked about his processing speed needs to improve. That was the biggest thing that needed to improve for him, is his ability to process the game at a much faster speed. But I think his vision and his playmaking is probably along his size is not a skill. That's just his body, right? So it's not really a skill. It's an attribute, but it's not a skill. The biggest skill for me is his vision and playmaking, and his creativity when it comes to that stuff. So to me, this is the first time that I saw the Slafkovsky that I thought that we had drafted. Like when people were saying, "Oh, like when is he going to score more goals?" I'm like, that's not Slafkovsky that we drafted, from my perspective. Like yes, they've been calling him a power forward, but like to me, he's going to be more like a Nichushkin kind of player, maybe hopefully a little bit more production than that, right? So somebody who can really protect the puck, play smart two ways of the ice, and really complement high-end offensive players with creative plays. So I really like, to me, the most exciting thing is I'm starting to finally see the Slafkovsky that I thought we were going to see, not the one that people have been imagining in their minds since he's been drafted first overall.
Great. Top.
No, I agree. I think, the reason why he was drafted was hopefully at some point to complement that first pairing, line pairing, and now it's all about reaching for that chair, as Martin St. Louis said, right? Like you have to prove that you're going to outwork somebody else that's in that chair right now, so that you get put into that position for success. Now, so far he's showing well on the second line. Hopefully, he continues to have that kind of time. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they have put him on the second power play unit.
Yeah.
If I'm not, yeah. So that's good. That's a good entry point for him. And if he can be effective on that, like it's all about confidence. And once he gets it, and that's something that we neglected to talk about here. Once you have that confidence, then you feel that invincibility to go out there and do what you're capable of doing. But yeah, he's probably, I would put him at about 25 plus goal per year kind of individual, but he can do so many other things that are right, that can help the team in many aspects. And I like the fact, we didn't talk about this either. Maybe you did, Marco. I'm not sure. He comes back and he back checks well. He can
Yeah.
anticipate where he has to be.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Like that goal, the Newhook goal that he assisted on, that all started with him winning the puck in the defensive zone, right? Like he's the one that turned it over, won that battle, passed it up to Dach, and then beat his guy up the ice, right?
Right.
What do you think? Like, what do you think of like now that we've seen him and we're starting to see him a bit more? I'm curious, guys. Who do you think a good comparable is for him? I threw out Nichushkin. But who do you guys think is a good comparable? Like who, if you were Martin St. Louis, which player would you be showing him video of to try and emulate and to try to work towards being?
Well, the name that was bantered around at the time of him being drafted was always, and he himself has compared himself to him as a light version, was Rantanen. But I mean, obviously, he's not going to have the same offensive prowess that Rantanen has, but he can play that type of game, a very smart, intelligent, efficient kind of game.
I'm thinking about many players right now in my head, spinning right now. But some element, like for me, if he can become a Jimmy Benn in NHL, not like fight like Jimmy Benn, because Ben is really a fighter, right? He's more stronger like this, but I think the size, he's similar at Jimmy Benn, being a physical power forward, everything like that. I think that would be one of the players. I think it could be an NHL for me. For Slafkovsky, a guy can score 30 goals per season, and I think it would. Another one I believe he could be is, and I think this kid is smaller, but what he brings for many years with Tampa Bay Lightning is Audrey Palat. Palat is a guy, he protects the puck, he's chasing the puck, he's a hunter. I know he's small like Slafkovsky, but he can put the puck in the net, and he's a really great complementary for his teammate Palat. And that's, for me, Slafkovsky should be a good complementary for other players around him. And that's, I believe, Dach and him is a good match for the Montreal Canadiens. I'm watching the game that they was just won 4-3 against Detroit. So if you have a Vanissenek, it's a good. You have a good game. Anyhow, sorry about that. So that's pretty much about this. Luc Lafortune thinking about Kate Primo. That's a good way, of course. I know he's a center, but that's a good place about that.
If we could have a mix of Nichushkin, Rantanen, and Jamie Benn, like I think somewhere in the middle there, like I think that would be good. But I think 30 goals. That's maybe like that would be like I think that would be kind of like his career best. Like I see him more as a playmaker for sure, but hopefully he can get around that amount.
Absolutely. Felix Slafkovsky could be a Grom. It'll be interesting to see what he could win in the reach. And then with our GSM, talk about 30 goal right there. A lot of people. And KLS is sad because he's the Detroit loss tonight. If you want to follow a little bit more what's going on, the Rangers beat the Buffalo Sabre 5-1 tonight. Levi struggled. The
Yeah.
Flames beat the Columbus Blue Jacket 4-2 tonight. So Tortorella is going to go ching in number 2. After that, we have a Star 1-1 versus the Blues. And then the Wall are beating the Panthers 2-0. Flurry between, but Faber scored his first goal in NHL. And the Predators take a 1-0 only with 9 minutes to go at the third period against the Kraken. So if one of you has zeros, could be a shootout for your fantasy hockey. I don't know.
I have Jack Hughes, so I'm happy to see that he had a good night.
Yeah, that's pretty good about that. Let's move on back what we want to talk about the subject. Let me think back on the graphic here. We talked about Slafkovsky a couple of minutes ago. Montreal Canadiens, some concern, goaltender and RHD, or any other concern about the Montreal Canadiens. I know it's only one game, but we have to go back on the preseason. And I would like from you maybe take 2-3 players, maybe not the same altogether. Like, if Marco talk about a specific player and after that try to get another player, what are your concerns team-wise, players-wise? And after that, we're going to start.
Well, team-wise, it's the same thing. It's a specialty teams for the biggest part. We need to improve both penalty killing and power play percentages because you're going to get nights like last night where you're going to be shorthanded or you're going to be offered opportunities like they were in overtime. They had that power play, and there wasn't much motion going on there. It's a tough thing. It takes a little bit of specialization, but it also takes the right players at the right positions, and maybe we just haven't reached that spot yet. Player wise, and that's why I kept asking. Like I know during the summer, as we were getting closer to the start of the year, we were pumping tires on a lot of our players, and I posed the question. I said, okay, which players are we going to see regression with this year for Montreal? And a couple names that came up. We thought, we don't know if RHP can do this, what he did last year at a full season pace. I didn't think he was horrible last night. It's just that he was stuck on in a position where he didn't make anything really happen. I thought he was. I didn't think he was as physical, and he didn't drive to the net as he usually does. And I thought Evans and even Yolanen carried that line a little bit more than RHP did. But again, maybe under different circumstances, it could be different. And the goalies is my biggest concern. I've said that before. I'm sure that they're well aware of it. The GMs are, and they may make something happen. I don't know. I'm not sure whether they're content with keeping the three that are there now. It's a certain having three goalies. I know today's NHL necessitates it more and more, but you ask a lot of goaltenders if they like having two people on the bench while they're playing, and they'll all disagree. It just throws them out of sorts when it comes to practice, when they don't have that certainty of which games they're playing necessarily. It really, and they're creatures of habit. Goalies are, and they need that consistency, that schedule where they know exactly what they need to do to get prepared for a game. And having a 3 goalie system doesn't always lend itself to that type of consistency.
Agree. Like, to me, we knew going into the season kind of what our goaltending was. This summer, guys, I wasn't expecting that they were going to start the season with Primo on the roster and carry three goalies. If you would have asked me that in August, I wouldn't have believed you. So that's a bit of
I
a
agree.
surprise. I don't know that they just really, really still overvaluing Caden Primo. Like, I guess they really still believe in him. And it shows you how much Ken Hughes does not like to use assets for nothing. Man, he's greedy. He's greedy, greedy, greedy when it comes to his assets. He doesn't want to just lose somebody on waivers, even if it's getting a 6th-round pick for something. He's like, num, 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 num. Give me all the picks. Give me all the assets. He doesn't like giving anything away for free. So listen, I respect that. I like that. But at some point, there's going to be kind of like Entertap was saying, right? It's just not sustainable to carry three goalies on the main club. Like it's just really bad to manage the practice time and having time with the goalie coach to really kind of work on things. So I'm sure they're all respectful, but I'm sure none of them are really happy with kind of what's going on now. So that's definitely a concern. Hopefully, one that gets dealt with sooner rather than later. For those of you who are thinking it's going to be a trade, like I don't see them being able to move Allen at this point. It's not going to be Allen. I don't think they're trading Montembeault. Maybe there's a team out there flirting around with getting Primo, but again, they would have to put them down in the minors. And so I don't know what they're going to do. At some point, they're going to have to take a shot and make a move, because there's no way, even Ken Hughes said it yesterday, that they're not going to do this all year, right? So it's going to end at some point. You just hope it's going to end sooner rather than later, to make sure that it's going to enable them to have the practice time that they need. Otherwise, like in terms of player concerns, listen, like I think everybody can see everybody sees kind of what's going on with Brendan Gallagher. It's early in the season, he's got a lot of capital with fans and with management. So we just hope, he didn't play a lot of games last year. So we're hoping he, kind of gets into the groove of things and find his legs a little bit, just, finding it hard for him to kind of move around out there as effectively as he'll need to be an effective player. But listen, like this is a problem that we it's well documented. We know. Let's not even talk about the salary. Just him as a player overall, like not what he's bringing for a salary. Just him as a player to be effective. Let's just give him some time. He's earned that respect, and everything else. So let's hope that he can kind of find his legs a little bit. And they need to find him a role on the team, right? Like especially a really proud guy that's an assistant captain on the team. He doesn't kill penalties. What is Gallagher's role on the team? Is he going to be, I guess, 5-on-5? Are they going to use whatever line, like when Dvorak comes back and it's with Gallagher? Maybe you have him with RHP. Maybe that's your checking line. But it looks like Evans. Like, look at the game last night, guys. Like, who did Saint Louis put out there when they were killing that 6-on-5? Not that they did a good job, but he put that Evans line with RHP and with Ylonen. Even more, like Gallagher didn't get out there in the last minute or two. That's an interesting. That says something, right? So that's a concern.
It's all about speed. It's all about speed, and the NHL today is a fast man's game. And
it is.
Unfortunately, he's lost enough, speed on his game that it makes him almost irrelevant in terms of what he can contribute. Yeah, and I hate saying that because I love him.
I know. Like, hey, here's some perspective, guys. My last dog, I named him Gallagher. That's how much I loved Gallagher when he was in his prime. So it pains me to say it. But that's what I was saying. Hopefully,
he was always in front of the door in off tap.
Yeah,
he's always attacking people at the door for sure.
No wonder you have to take him out at a certain time.
yeah. So hopefully he needs to, hopefully he gets his legs under him here. Like, sometimes a player like that, hasn't played a lot of games. Let's just hope, right? So but these are things we knew that was going to be the case here this season. For those saying, well, you got to trade him right away. Like, listen, it's not an issue. We don't need the cap space right now. It is what it is. Let's just work with him. Try to find him a role on the team where he can, provide. Because as a leader on the team, it's very hard for you to be an effective voice in the locker room if you're not having an impact on the ice. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be scoring 30 goals, but he's got to bring something on the ice for him to, like, imagine, guys, like, it's hard for you to kind of get up in the locker room and like put a guy in his place if you're not having an impact on the game. It's very hard to do that. So that's a concern.
I don't know if you saw, just sort of to capsulize his year or his last couple of years, but in the pregame warmup where he was skating around and he got belted by his own player, he went down hard. It's just he can't buy any sort of luck. That's the problem.
Speaking of luck, I'm just seeing somebody, Mark D, saying here in the chat that Werenski got injured again. Oh my God! Imagine after Columbus. I didn't see what happened or how bad it is, but some people, maybe some guys are just cursed. Like they need to. Somebody has like a voodoo doll, like Gary Bettman's. Like he's got a little voodoo doll in his office in New York. I don't know what's going on, but other than that, Coach, like.
Oh, we have super chat, ladies and gentlemen, from Dave. Super chat, reverse chapter chop. A super chat for Dave about Gallagher. No, it's not about Gallagher, but about that one over there. The best statement so far is WST said, make Gallagher a coach. About that one. Yep. Don't forget, guys, to click on the like. That'd be great. We try to get a 50 likes tonight. Just give you for me, as a goaltender is really my concern right now for the Montreal Canadiens. I feel like they don't want to leave Primo because the Laval situation. They would like to have a better duo, Primo and Tobesh. And Laval versus Man or any other goaltender in NHL could join Montreal Canadiens as a backup and with a Laval Rocket. So that would be something. But last night for me, and I don't know, he does not have a really good preseason camp. He played 34 games last year. Played the 4-line last night. No impact. It's RHP. And because it's a waiver exempt, and if he does not do anything for the next 5-6 games until the Warriors come back, I think he could be the guy can be down in Laval.
Coach, you've been saying that. You've been predicting that since I know you've been planting that idea in our minds since the summer that RHP. Don't be surprised, guys. He's going to go down. I don't buy it, man. I don't think so.
The only thing to that, Marco, and sorry for interrupting, but it's the fact that you have both Roy and Heineman that are itching to be here, and they're NHL ready, I believe, especially Roy right now.
Guys, have you seen the look in St. Louis' eyes when they ask him about RHP? Like it's like big heart. He's like a cartoon, like those big hearts that pop out. Like he loves the guy. He's basically what Arturi Lehkonen was to Claude Julien, is what RHP is to MSL. There's no chance. He loves the guy. He loves being able to insert him anywhere in the lineup. I'll eat. No, I won't say that. I won't say that. Like, I would be very surprised that would happen, Coach. I know you've been hypothesizing that since the summer. I get it. He's waiver exempt and everything.
So you don't see him in Laval? You don't see he's going to be in Laval?
I don't think so. I would be surprised.
Too late. I don't think so. I don't think so either. But like I said, I do believe that you got two other players that are really a little bit more superior right now. And unless he turns it on, I would rather have Raw. I would rather have Raw right now or even Heineman than RHP.
You would have Heineman over RHP?
Yes, absolutely.
Really? Wow, guys! Like
right now, from what I saw in the exhibition. Don't base it on last year. You have to base it on what you're seeing.
No, I'm basing it 100% on this year. Like, listen, Heineman was a little bit more physical heading down the stretch of the preseason. We know that he has a good shot. But to me, guys, like it's like you forget, like, yeah, well, I don't know if you can completely exclude what he did last year, but even like just look at how well he's played like on every line that he's been. Like I think he's made almost every line that he's played on better. Like was he the most was it the most kind of eye-popping game that RHP has played last night? No, but again, like if you look at the details, coach, like you were saying about Jacky, RHP was probably one of the most detailed forwards in the game last night, winning battles, making smart plays, getting pucks out, chipping the puck out on the boards to get a zone exit. All those small things might not be eye popping to people watching the game on TV, but like Lehkonen, very, very much appreciated by the coaching staff.
You
I
cannot
don't,
put
I
RHP with Lehkonen. I'm sorry about that, but you're not. In my
I'm
opinion,
not.
RHP is not like not much right now for me right now. For since he show up since the preseason and the game last night, right now you have you he's not like in our top. I would prefer at some point to if you don't change Samuel Laval and try Joshua Roy, a player like him or Emil Henneman.
I don't see it, guys. I don't know which. It's like we're watching two totally different games. Like I
That's good. Anyway,
don't.
Marco, I will said to you, and after we tell you in 1 month, do you remember, Marco, when you said he would not go in Laval? Now he's going Laval. We're going together. I can understand your point of view about that one there, but he's stuck at the ladder of the Montreal Canadiens. This is a problem he has right now. Yeah, we can send him through third line, fourth line. It's not a big deal. But I feel like right now, he had an opportunity to play with Ski Caulfield, did not do anything at the preseason game. I
What do you mean
think
he didn't do anything? What do you mean
at,
he didn't do anything?
I'm sorry.
What do you mean he didn't do anything? They had a very good game when he played up there.
Or it was not like he did not. How many points he got? How many
I
points he
think.
got this year at the preseason and the first game?
I think he got a point. Like
How many
remember, you don't
goals?
remember. You don't no, but listen.
How
Like
many
I'm trying to
opportunity
explain.
he got? How many
Okay, so
chances
you
he
don't
got in
remember.
front of the slot? Not much.
I'm
I'm telling
trying,
you now, he does not
coach.
perform the same way
I'm
he
trying to
did
remind
last
you.
year.
I'm trying to remind you. You don't remember the goal that Caulfield scored? Suzuki won the battle in the puck in the corner,
It's
passed it
his
to
key to confidence.
RHP.
Yeah, but he's right there at the goal line. It's not like he did the play. It's his key did the play on that one there. He just passed the
No,
puck to Caulfield.
oh my God, you have selective memory. So Suzuki won a battle in the corner, passed it to RHP, and RHP
At the goal
made a
line.
yeah, no, behind the goal line.
But
So yeah,
yeah, but
so
he just passed the pass and the guy in front of the net. He did not do it
oh,
like
just pass
he
the
did not
puck.
go beat
Oh, you just kind
F1
of
or
do.
F2.
Oh, well, anybody could do that, right, coach? Like, but why aren't other players do? Why didn't Anderson do that last night? Why didn't he just make a simple pass to
But
Caulfield
that
for
play
him
you
to
talk
score a
about
time?
particular, Marco, it was not like a great play by HP. He stuck at the goal
It
line to
was.
pass the puck to the players. It's not like he skated with the puck, go around the one defenseman, open up a space, and then he passed the puck to Caulfield. It's not
That's not
that
what they
one.
need on that
Ski did
line.
the job on that one.
That's
My
not what they
opinion
need on
behind
that
that
line.
is RHP right now does not play. Like if he don't change his play, he's going to be in a trouble. My point behind that. And trouble is only go go back to Laval and then
Super
come back
chat.
to But we have a super chat. That's the most important things.
I'm going to do fighting gestures.
Super chat, Dave Sutter. Super chat number 2 of the night, Mr. Dave. Thanks so much, guys.
Hey,
Don't forget, please, to click on the like. That'd be awesome about that one over there. And finally, I will confirm about my biggest concern is about the special team. I didn't talk about this. Many people talk about and on that one there. So that's, I believe, at the end of the day, they have to be a little bit more concerned about the team if they want to have a good year overall. We'll see what happening with RHP, but again, I can understand your point of view, Marco. But for me, he does not show the same RHP he did last year with the Montreal Canadiens, and I'm a little bit
Not yet.
concerned
It's
because
early.
he took
It's early,
advantage
though.
from many other TOI because the player was not there. They are missing many players.
What I look
That's
at,
right
coach,
now.
is
Is Devorex coming back, guys? Right? Think about this, Marco, and after. Is Devorex coming back? They have to cut one
Yeah.
player. who is a waiver exam? You have only two.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a
I got
RHP and a Slafkovsky.
Baron.
Yeah, but you know me, you're not going to cut a Baron, play a 6D, and then bring a Dvorak as a forward. And then you have, you know, me. At the end of the day, my point is like he need to be better if he want to stay in NHL. He need to probe more. I
The
feel
biggest
he does
indicator,
not play the same level he did last year when the Montreal Canadiens. That's my point behind that.
the biggest indicator I look at is what we learn directly from what Saint Louis says and his actions, right? Like if you listen to how Saint Louis talks about RHP and how he's deployed him so far, every indicator to me shows me that he values him. Now, I wasn't comparing him to Lehkonen, saying that he's as good of a player as Lehkonen, but I'm saying in terms of how he's valued by a coach, you can't like all those coaches. Coach, you've been a coach before. Like it's even the Dominic Ducharme kind of thing, right? Like if I play a 4, I want to know that I'm getting a 4. If I'm playing a 10, I want to know it's a 10. That's exactly what RHP is. He's a known commodity. You know how he's going to play. He's going to have some games that are more effective than others and everything else. But in a sea of things that are uncertain for Saint Louis, he's got all these young players. There's everything around him is completely unknown and a big question mark. There's very little in his lineup that is a sure thing. So I would be surprised. Again, it's not impossible. Like if they were in a crunch, like I just also said that Hughes absolutely hates giving away assets for free. So is it possible that at some point during the year that they're forced to send him down because they don't want to lose an asset? It's not impossible. I'll give you that much. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
I can get
Marco, I understand your point of view. I'm sorry I cut you because my point behind that is like I understand the value of what you contribute or you make about RHP. I know that. It's just the circumstance sometimes, Marco, you have no choice, right? Because this is the business behind that. So recap everything like that. I think that's the reason I put a little bit more about that. To stay in the team,
And it's
my point of view, Marco, in attack, I want RHP need to produce at some point if he wants to stay in the team. Only the fact he does a little thing left and right, it was not good enough for me to keep him when the Warwick's coming back. At least you have an injury, so return like that. But again, you know, he's not the biggest negative problem with the Montreal Canadiens. I think I'm a little bit more very concerned about Gallagher and Pearson right now compared to RHP. But he could be stuck in the chair at the 4 line, and many people in the chat said, when you play on the 4 line, you're limited. When you play with Jake Evan, whatever he did a goal yesterday, Jake Evan is not going to scoring 20 goals. You know, if you look about his on the show that did yesterday, he struggled a little bit, but that's another subject for the time. But we'll see. I just feel like RHP, if he's not produced, it could be sent in Laval. Marco.
What do you mean by
and it's
so what do you mean by produce? What does produce mean for a 4th line guy? Like all the
like yesterday, right? Eleanor score, Evan score.
Okay, and he assisted on one of those 2 goals, so he had point production.
He had 1 assist,
right?
But also he killed penalties, and that's the thing, coach, is like all the players have different roles, right? Like so.
Oh yeah, the both of Allen play now PK because it put him over Armia, and I always like that. I just feel for me as because the situation it would be maybe go back down and like not upset. I will you know, is it RHP as your future player to be in the Montreal Canadiens?
Again, to build a team, you need players playing different roles, right? So do I see if RHP is in Montreal's top 9 3 years from now, we're in big trouble. I agree there, right? But for the time being, but again, like people earlier in the chat were saying, why are we trying to compare Slafkovsky to someone? Why are we limiting his potential? So RHP is not projected to be a top 9 player. I get that, right? But again, like, you know, right now he plays a very specific role on the team. You know, Martin Saint-Louis likes the flexibility that he brings into the lineup. And that's all I'm saying is that you have to look at what the coach values in terms of some of the personnel decisions that the team is going to make. There's going to be injuries. Like coach, remember last year how many times, oh my God, what are they going to do? Hoffman is coming back. Like, oh my God. And our hair was on fire. Like they have to decide tomorrow what's going to happen. Then whoop, all of a sudden two players are gone for a month. Right. So things magically happen. Like Dvorak right now. Does anybody believe that Dvorak actually couldn't play in the NHL right now? He's been skating for like 2 weeks and skating well, according to some reports. But obviously, they really wanted to put him on LITR so that they could manage the price contract before the season, right? Or right when the season was starting. So, they have to put him on LITR, which means he's going to be back around November 4th.
At the end of the day, gentlemen, it's a great problem to have. If we're debating, like there's other players that are challenging, and it forces everybody to step up their game. And I think that that's a great problem to have.
For sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Aurel Joliette come back next year with the Montreal. But
his skating might be a little.
But for me, and Marco, I will say this to you, all right? At some point, if I know RHP is not part of my team, or maybe in the future, whatever it is, I will try to bring Animan. I will try to bring Hua or any other player perform in Laval to open a spot over there. The problem with behind that, if nobody chant, no injuries or anything like that, he's the only one you can remove. This is the problem. No, he doesn't deserve to be removed. I agree with you because Gallagher with his piano in the back is not good right now. So I think,
but it's really Pearson taking away a spot. It's like, to me, I'm not sacrifice. I'm not like, having to remove RHP to make room for Roy. To me, it's more Pearson that's taking a spot, right? Like, again, it's going to be competitive. It's good to have internal competition. So I don't think RHP minds that at all. I'm just seeing like it seems like people are always really driven by points, right? But again, you have to look at the small things that a player like RHP does for the team and the value that not only the coaching staff but his teammates also value as well, right? And and again, it's not just like, you looked at his production and it was certainly inflated by the amount of minutes that he played last year. But again, he probably outperformed other people that sat in that chair, like Mike Hoffman and other players that tried to come up and play with Suzuki. They weren't able to produce at that level. So it's not like it just magically, it's a guarantee that you're going to produce if you happen to play with Nick Suzuki. There's a lot of players that played with Suzuki on the first line after Suzuki got injured last year that didn't have that production, right? So you still have to give him credit. It's not like, okay, they just magically put him on that line and it just automatically 20 points and 14 goals appeared. Like, no, he scored those goals. He was there, so it's not like just magically, you can't just completely discount the fact that he did that. Now, do we project that he will be able to duplicate that in the role that he has now? Absolutely not. And like we said, if in the long term RHP is the guy playing on the top line with Suzuki and Caulfield, then that's not going to be a good look for Montreal in the long term. But if RHP was this much taller and a little bit bigger, he would be the perfect guy to play. Coach, you were saying earlier, like, oh, what did RHP really do on that Caulfield goal? It's not like he skated around the net and did all these things. That's not what Suzuki and Caulfield need. They need somebody who can make quick
retrieve the puck,
and then also quick give and go plays, down low plays to do that. Like, Suzuki is the guy that's carrying the puck. Caulfield is the shooter. So a guy like RHP is actually perfect, but it's more of a size issue, I think, with that, right? Like, that would just be a really small line overall to compete in the NHL over the long term. But if he was a bit taller and a bit bulkier, if you could put the heart and the intellect of a Harvey Pinard into a Josh Anderson, I think that would be pretty awesome.
All right, let's move on for the next. Let's move on to next. A lot of new people pop up in the chat. Welcome in the house, everybody. I appreciate a lot. It's great to see a couple of great comments in the chat. Sean McIntyre talk about the four line, everything. Maybe change the line. I would like to hear from you what you think about. Do you expect Martin St-Louis change the line? very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not gonna rest on that. I think depending on who they play at different times, you're going to see different personnel in there. Um, but something's got to happen. We talked about the third line, and that just can't continue like that. I think it's also a bit of a waste to have Monahan at that spot if you're not going to surround him with at least one other good player to sort of play along with. So yeah, expect changes for sure.
Marco?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Like St. Louis said it, it's going to really be dependent on whether they're playing at home, on the road, what kind of team they're playing. Like if they're playing Minnesota, like a team that's like a little bit more physical, Calgary, teams that put a lot of pressure versus a team that is like Buffalo, that's a little bit more speed oriented. So you're going to see those changes, like the St. Louis favorite line. And by the way, like Coach, I don't know if you and Intertap, if you've been watching St. Louis interviews over the last couple of days, but and I'm not trying to be
A little
critical of
bit
some
more
of the
bite.
little bit more bite, and that you can see starting to get a little frustrated with some of the questions that are so repetitive from the media. Like it's always like it's almost like the same five questions, right? Like
He
like
was
what is it?
today.
Yeah, yeah. And you can see he's starting to get frustrated with it. It's like, guys, I've already talked about this. Yes, the lines are going to change all the fucking time. Okay, like you can see he just is just done answering the same questions, and like so yes, for sure the lines are going to change. Based on kind of what like injuries, obviously, but also like they have all this flexibility in order to move people up and down. So for sure that's going to happen. What I'm curious about also is how long are they going to keep Barron out of the lineup, right? So I'm sure they're not going to want to keep him out super long. And to Coach's point earlier, who's going to sit for Barron when they put him back in? Is it going to be Harris or is it going to be Jacky?
Great point about that one. All right, question Alain Vanco ask you, Mr. Natat. What are the future plans for Peseta?
He'll be in. I mean, he's the kind of guy that'll come in that fourth line and he'll give you that energy. I think his skating is not as bad as people think. It's actually decent.
His
He's
shot is
and
pretty good too.
his shoot is not bad
Yeah,
either. Like he's a
yeah.
decent shooter. So give him the
He's
chance.
improved
Like
a lot. He's improved a
I've
lot over the
known,
last few seasons.
yeah, I've known this guy since he was 13 years old, and this guy
No way.
goes through a brick wall for a coach. Yeah, a good friend of mine that was uh, a, scouting him was warning me about him. He says he's going to be a real coach's favorite because this guy, never argues. He goes out there and he gives his 100%. Now, is he part of our future? It's difficult to really justify that he'll be here more than a year or two. It's simply because we have good prospects that are going to be coming up, and I think they fit that model a little bit better than he does. But for the time being, yeah, like I think he gets in the lineup more so than not, and will contribute.
Marco, I'll go in the next question about this. What do you think about the performance of the Newhook just from Willie?
Like I mentioned, like I thought he was really impressive. Not just the fact that he scored 2 goals, but I really like the fact that he was hound. He's a bit like a puck hound. Like really, really aggressive on the puck. A lot of pressure on the puck, not just in the offensive zone, but back checking in the neutral zone. Really nice stick. Kind of a lazy penalty. But sometimes that happens, right? Like when you're really active with your stick and really doing puck pursuit, sometimes you're going to take those penalties. So it sounded like a couple of the players in the post game interview mentioned that they didn't love the offensive zone faceoffs. I think it was Suzuki and Newhook both mentioned that, and they both had offensive zone penalties. But listen, his speed is elite. There's no question about that. And then when you combine that with Slafkovsky and Dach together, it's a really nice little chemistry that they have going. So really liked his game. What I've been noticing more and more too is he's got a little bit of an attitude too, right? Like he's got a chip on his shoulder,
Yeah,
right? Like he's reading like, things about like, like he kind of missed his chance with the Avalanche. like kind of, really kind of underperforming. So he's coming here with something to prove. And you can see, like, I think he's a competitive guy. And so I like that.
Yeah,
Like, those
he
are
is.
traits that you want to see.
He has that confidence about him. I think he believes that he can really contribute, and he's finally being given the opportunity to show that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great going about that. Let's move on. We have a lot of people in the chat. They talk about question about everything. Sebastian, do you ground real poker intelligence? I don't know. And Sebastian, we still talk about the hockey right now. It'd be better. Um, Saturday night,
Yeah.
Connor Bedard
Connor Bedard.
and
Ooh.
the Chicago Blackhawks is in town. What do you expect? What do you think about Connor Bedard so far? And you can talk about a little bit about Connor Bedard. So let's consult now with Marco on that one.
Face-off percentage is not amazing so far, but that's, pretty typical for a young center coming in the league. But, really special players. Should be really exciting to watch him play. A lot of Montreal fans will probably be kind of a little bit of regret and a little bit of kind of, what could have been, kind of looking at Bedard play in Montreal. But it is what it is, man. So it's going to be exciting to watch him play. For sure, in a way, I'm kind of relieved that he got his first goal out of the way, because I'm assuming it's going to be Montembeault in nets Saturday. So Montembeault seems to always be a guy that gets like scored on for, like, you remember, like, Zegras had that, Michigan goal on him, and he seems to always be on these, like, forever highlight packages when guys have really important goals. So at least Montembeault won't be part of Bedard's first goal highlight reel for forever if he ends up playing. So should be a really exciting game. Watching Chicago, Luke Richardson has them playing a really, really energetic style. They're pivoting between a really aggressive forecheck. So they have there's, in some occasions, they're sending like two guys in deep and really playing really an aggressive style. So they do have Taylor Hall that's going to be out, though, so that's a really big piece for them. It's not a team that has a lot of depth. So that's definitely going to be in favor of Montreal. But Montreal, like, hopefully they keep that level of intensity up for what we saw in Toronto, because if not, they're going to be in for a surprise against Chicago, because Luke Richardson is going to be, he'll have money on the board, being a former assistant coach in Montreal. Chicago is going to come ready to play. They play aggressive. They play fast. They have terrible, some terrible defense, to be honest, overall, but they play hard. So it's not going to be an easy game. No game in the NHL is easy, but overall, it should be fun to watch.
And out that.
He's just a special player. I mean, we all anticipated that from what we've seen in the past, but he's brought it to the NHL already, and he doesn't look out of place at all. And there's very few players that come along in the league and impose their will. And I think this is one of those guys that we're going to be talking about him for many years to come.
Sorry, guys, allergies.
Bless you.
This is Doug Gallagher and out that. About that one there. Yeah, we'll be able to see that. The Chicago, like you said, with Connor Bedard, they're going to miss Taylor Hall. But when you look this lineup, it's very difficult. By the way,
It's
sometimes
hard.
you see 90 and 98. It's confusing to see Tyler Johnson and Connor Bedard because the jersey is similar, 90 and 98.
Same size too.
Yeah. So, but it's a team, with not much in the lineup, but they find a way to give a good performance. Both game, one again at Boston, they lose 3-1, and then again at Pittsburgh they come back, and then Montreal going to face to Connor Bedard. It's what he come with that. I like is how come it is and how is so mature for his age. If you look about all the mic he has around him, it's unbelievable. It's crazy. Imagine Connor Bedard and Montreal.
Did you see the picture of him with his first goal with the puck?
Yeah.
Where he there's a lot of, like, it's kind of a lot of funny memes with it, because I think one of them was like, what you look like when you hate to lose, because he doesn't look super happy with this puck, right? He's just kind of like, so not the most memorable. So, obviously he's going to be a special player, but other than like since Sidney Crosby, Sidney Crosby arguably has, still is the ambassador for the NHL. He might not be the NHL's best player anymore, McDavid is, but I think he's still the ambassador for the NHL. He's so good with the press, so good with fans. We've kind of like hockey in general, other since Ovi and Crosby. Crosby, again, he's so classy and so good with fans. Ovechkin is like, this clown, like he's, kind of very colorful kind of character, and at the All-Star game with the glasses and all that stuff, right? But do you think the NHL has a bit of a problem here with some of their superstars that are just really not that charismatic? You've got McDavid,
Yeah.
who is kind of monosyllabic, right? Like doesn't say very much. Then you've got Bedard here. Again, I'm sure they're really good kids and really good people. And
Matthews is not a
Matthews,
great marketer in hockey, we like that. And I think that's
yeah,
the
Marner.
philosophy in hockey. I think it should be open up like NBA and provide more everything like this. It's a bit more popular in USA, but I think they should go better on that for sure. Marco, well done, well said about but look like Bedard. He has everything to be that mega star for them for the NHL in the future.
oh yeah,
I think Zegras is another one.
yeah.
Uh,
Zegras, and you can see they've really used Zegras, even though he's not that generational style player. He's, he's one of the rare guys that has that kind of flair. You could use PK back, in the league somehow, other than just ESPN, right? Like you need more guys like that.
we have a question, Mr. Natap. I apologize. Look like it's not gonna.
It's a little
Do
bit small,
you guys
coach.
realize there have only been one game so far? Do you guys realize they have only been one game so far this season? Yes, Pete, it's only one game, but
Come on, Pete.
go ahead, Natap.
It felt like three
No,
games.
no.
The first Toronto game, it felt like 3 games in one, though, to be honest.
Yeah, but Pete, it went to overtime. I know it's one game, but it went to overtime.
Yeah, and it was a good game at the end of the day. It's a fun game.
Yeah.
We're not here to be negative or to be against everybody or to paint but
Never.
at some point we just try to see what we saw during the game. And the Dallas Star guy won a 2-1 and shootout against the St. Louis Blues. Bennington, Mr. Tap, at 35 save tonight. So
I put him on the bench, though.
Maybe I'm thinking to trade for him right now. Let me think about this.
Okay.
San Jose
together.
We have
San Jose.
Adam is going to get now out. Thanks so much, Adam, for all the likes, everything like that. Always a pleasure to have you aboard, Adam Bianco. Doug Orwell, coach Randy Walkman. Jason Crosby was 18 years old, eventually was 20 old and won the rookie season. Star winning shootout. We have more point can McDavid team WST. That's a great thing. That's the positive about that. Before we leave, I have about 7 minutes, guys. We know we love about hockey. We talk about Montreal Canadiens most of the time, but I think it would be fun at some point during those shows to have some kind of conversation about the NHL result game, everything like that. So let's review what you saw yesterday about the game, and then don't take the same game. And after we're going to start with Edmonton and Vancouver, and I would like to hear from you the game between Calgary and the Winnipeg Jet, Marco, about yesterday, or maybe some player have a really great performance. We can talk this way. We know the Kings lost 5-2 again. The Colorado and Jonathan Drouin have 1 assist. So let's start with you, Mr. Natap.
Well, I'm still in shock. I did not expect that Canuck Oiler game to be 8-1. It's one thing where you put up 6 or 7 goals yourself and still lose. You can sort of say, at least our offense was still there, but nothing was pretty much clicking at any stage in that game for them. I thought Vancouver brought it right from the beginning. Campbell did not live to the expectations of those 2 or 3 exhibition games. He came
Yeah.
out, I think he had a save percentage of around 750, and that's not going to cut it. And I didn't like the choice that was made to start him at the beginning of the season, because all of last year, um, Woodcroft mentioned that Skinner was the number one, and he demonstrated it by giving him the majority of the games. And then you turn around just based on 2 or 3 games in the exhibition, and you make
Mm,
Campbell back. It's a money issue, and let's not make a mistake about
I
that. But
disagree,
I
man.
think Skinner is your definite number one, and
So
I think you have to do, especially when you're a team like Edmonton that is, on the precipice of hopefully winning a cup or at least getting close to it. You have to do what's right for the team, and right now it's not putting Campbell in as your starter.
So let's not forget, like if you look at the numbers going down the stretch last year, Campbell actually had like Campbell's start of the season last year was so bad, like disastrously so bad that even
Yeah,
the really strong finish that he had made his overall numbers for the whole season still look really bad. But he had a very good finish to the year. To your point, and then Skinner went to the All-Star game, right? So to your point, Edmonton stuck with Skinner to go into the playoffs, but Skinner had a terrible playoff.
but he's a
So
rookie. He was a rookie, Marco.
I get it. So, but like you said, what have you done for me lately? They probably went into the preseason this year and said, listen, like, fight for a spot, and if Campbell was the better goalie in camp, then fine, give him the game. But like you can't really blame him on a lot of the goals last night. There was maybe a couple, but
Yeah,
Edmonton
they weren't.
was just terrible overall, right? But yeah, that's a very bizarre start to the year for Edmonton. The game I was really focused on, obviously, coach, because I'm Ottawa guy, is Ottawa. Kind of something we didn't talk about, but a bit of a phenomena yesterday where many teams were struggling with cap issues and could only go with 11 forwards and 6 defensemen or whatever. So kind of strange. There's, I think, 3 or 4 teams that were stuck in that scenario, including Ottawa. Well documented that Ottawa right now is without 2 of their 3 top centers, Pinto and Norris. So really tough assignment for them to go into Carolina. For your first game in Carolina, the crowd was hyped in Carolina. So kind of a tough game. Overall, like they had a little bit of fight back, but Carolina looked pretty impressive overall. But Ottawa had a little bit of pushback in that game. But guys, like Dorian, like it's going to be really hard for him. Like out of any year that you're going to not want to kind of have self-inflicted wounds, which is not having enough money to sign your number 3 center when it's going to be that important. Like Dorian needs to fix this right away. But overall, it was a good game. Some nice spurts from I think Corpusalo didn't have the best debut for Ottawa. So as a Sens fan, maybe you're a
Oh,
little bit
the
concerned. And
shot for the blue line over the glove. Oh, that was terrible. They beat him
yeah,
twice on the over the shoulder, the glove, uh, the
blocker,
blocker.
yeah,
Anyway, sorry about that.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, they
concern
can
there.
ill afford to get off to another bad start again.
No, I agree.
Yeah, it was a great night yesterday. Tonight, guys, you don't know, but yeah, a lot of shootout. 2 of them, low score 3-0, 2-0, 2-1, 5-1. And then you have earlier 4-3 and 4-2. Not over 7 goal. So really low. And that's happened at the first game. Everybody that's not ready to be played at
They
the
don't have
high
powerful
level.
offenses like they don't have powerful offenses like the Montreal Canadiens. That's why.
Yeah. That's it. That's all, guys. We reached the 2 hours like we did. So that's pretty good thing. A great debate, great conversation, everything like that. We're going to be back Sunday night for the weekly recap for the Montreal Canadiens. But before we leave, guys, we want to share it with you. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm not done. I'm going to talk a little bit. I forgot about this. The pool of yesterday, guys. 47% said Newhook have the best game for the Montreal Canadiens. And finally, my question tonight, I would like to hear from both of you. I know it's small, but what is your primary concern? Is it the veteran Gallagher Savard, the right defenseman side Savard Kovacevic or Aris Barron, the goaltender, the special team PK, it's not PK Subban, by the way, and then any other concern? And up top, what would be your answer?
It's C and D there. I'll give a little bit of an edge to the special teams over the
Yeah.
goaltenders. So I'll go with special teams.
What about you, Marco?
Well, it seems this whole show I've been going off the board, so I'll go off the board on this one too. I'll say for me the biggest concern, like I was saying, is the overall team play, like the defensive team play. Didn't like how Suzuki and Caulfield were playing both sides of the puck. So yeah, that's my concern, is starting saying like the one-on-one or the man-on-man defense that like just I just want to see some progress there. That's kind of my major concern so far.
Marco, do you want to hear your performance tonight from the people?
Sure.
Here we go. Great performance of this, Marco. But we have something, Marco, before you leave. We have to admit this. I should do this earlier in the show. We have more people. I apologize for one. But tonight is the time to celebrate and to give is a trophy of the Friendship Quiz. Mr. Enartap, your winner of the Friendship Quiz. Congratulations. You're going to get that trophy the next week. You can do for one day only. Luciano with his white glove is going to bring to you. And you can bring you whatever you want. You can put anything you want in the cup. For one day, you're going to get that cup of the Friendship Quiz. So congratulations on this one, Mr. Enarta. Well done, well said.
Thank you.
Everybody are excited for the upcoming season. Again, Montreal play Saturday night. And then Monday next week, if you want to join us live, don't forget we have Mr. Tim Turk. If I can find it, that would be easy. I don't know if I get that one there. Here we go. Tim Turk Hockey is be with us. He's a coach in NHL as a private coach, really active during the summer. Many players, like I said, Gallagher, Dach, and other players, Patrick Kane, I believe. Jonathan Taze was been with him at some point. He's been coaching with the Carolina Hurricanes in the past, Montreal Canadiens. And it's a bit like Adam Nicolas does from Marco with the Montreal Canadiens. He's a private coach like that on the skill for its front team. So this is the first time we get that level of the guest. He's going to be with us Monday night next week, guys, at 9 o'clock p.m. And Marco D'Amico return with us at November 4th, Wednesday night, talking about the Montreal Canadiens, a new insider for the Hockey Nation. So that's what we got tonight, guys. Anything you want to add before you leave the building? And let's start with Marco. What are you looking for the rest of the week for the Montreal Canadiens?
Just really looking forward to seeing if the energy level can be the same as last game. By the way, guys, did you notice how quiet it was in the Toronto crowd for their home opener?
Yeah.
It's not going to be like that in Montreal, baby. It's going to be cranking. It's going to be loud. I can't wait to see the Montreal home opener.
And Mr. Nelta.
Well, I almost got yesterday's prediction right. I said the Habs would win in overtime. They lost. And then I said that they'll beat Chicago on Saturday. And I think it'll be a very good game.
And if Montreal lost against Chicago, I'm the winner with 1 point only. I just want to share this with you in
That's
case
right.
it could happen about that one over there. Don't forget, guys, we'll be back tomorrow night, 9 o'clock p.m. Coach will be back talking about a little bit an overtime, the first show of the overtime with the Ab Nation. Going to be tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Friday night. And then Saturday, we do the game play-by-play. Montreal against Chicago Blackhawks. This is the home opener of the Montreal Canadiens. And it was always great at the beginning of the year, right? Yeah, I don't know if Carey Price be there, what kind of presentation we'll do, but always, the Montreal Canadiens are always classy and do something always unique. They are maybe one of the best teams in NHL to create those kind of... Where field goal? The Kansas State will just make a field goal. So I just want to let you know about that one over there. Until then, my friend, we want to celebrate this and tell to Marco and Enarta because they are... You are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. You have greatness inside of you. We want to thank the super chat of Dave Zucker back in the house from Boca Raton and Florida. And then we want to thank all the mothers that we got tonight. Luciano was one of them. Thanks so much to be with us every night. And what not about RG Cadabro bring all the information, update in the chat. Always great. If you're a member of the channel, we want to thank each one of you. And thanks to join us tonight on another locker room report. We'll be back next Wednesday, not Thursday next week. Next Wednesday, talking about the Montreal Canadiens, the locker room report. Until then, my friend, we want to say one more thing. Be well, be healthy. Finally, not only dominate your day, but finally dominate the second half of what? Both of you?
You're 20!
23.
He did it again. An amazing, great night. Thanks so much, Mr. Inaftap and Marco, for your participation as the co-host tonight. I can wait to see you next time. Have an amazing, great night. And the people said to you, we love you. Have a good night, everybody.
Night,
Good
guys.
night, everyone.
Booyah!